This is the APU podcast. We are the American International School and American University in Vietnam in Da Nang and Ho Chi Minh City. Hi, I'm Đình Nguyen and I'm a computer science major at AUV. We are proud to present Life Studying Abroad, a series of episodes where we will checking with former APU and AUV students on what life is like living and studying abroad. In this episode, I'm talking to Nguyễn Nhật Nam, who is currently in his second year of studies at SJU, St. John's University, located in New York City. He's a very confident student because he lived in New York as a child. He might not get into any trouble with communication, culture, making international friends, and all that stuff like that. But he's still overwhelmed with exams and other studying related issues. Hi, buddy. How are you doing right now?
Hey, how's it going, Louis? I'm doing fine. Thank you. Thank you for asking.
Thanks for talking to me today. Can you tell us where you're living and going to school right now?
So, as you've already kind of introduced earlier, I'm living in New York right now, in Manhattan in particular, and I'm going to St. John's University.
Can you describe the campus of your school?
Compared to campuses of like big universities in other states, I would not say that St. John's University is particularly like extra large. That said, for a state like New York, where you have like big cities and skyscrapers everywhere, St. John's University is definitely one of the bigger campuses. It has all the facilities that I need, like the gym and whatnot. And I'm also working in like a writing center within the campus, which is like a place where students can go and get help with anything writing related.
Where are you living in Manhattan?
Currently, I am living in my own apartment in Manhattan. My school is in Queens, but I'm staying in Manhattan just because my area is much nicer, I think. I find it much more pleasant for me simply because I get much more privacy, and honestly, dorm costs can be rather expensive. And of course, staying in an apartment in Manhattan is super expensive as well, but at least I get my own privacy. I get to be much more independent and just kind of do whatever I want during my free time. And plus, I have more space, because usually dorm rooms are rather small. So having my own apartment definitely allows me the advantage of having more space and just freedom in designing my own place. Also, I can like invite friends over and hang out. So that's something I appreciate about having my own apartment and living off campus.
Are you around many Vietnamese right now?
To be honest,
Yeah.
I'll be straight with you. I don't really know a lot of Vietnamese people over here. I know like a lot of my APU friends, they're all in like Arizona and Kansas City and all that. And I know that, there's like a bunch of Vietnamese like people from APU as well coming to
Yeah.
those schools. There's a much bigger Vietnamese communities in those states. For New York, we have a lot of Vietnamese people as well, but a lot
Yeah.
of them tend to be like Vietnamese Americans, sort of, and not really like, international students, especially from APU like me. I don't think I know anyone in APU who's in New York right now. Right. That said, though, I do know a few Vietnamese people, and I am friends with a couple of Vietnamese people. We do have a Vietnamese community here, a pretty big one at that. So it's definitely a diverse place, is what New York is. And because it's so diverse, I actually tend to have more international friends.
How are you making friends?
To be honest, I lived in New York already as like a child since like fourth to eighth grade. So I didn't really have any trouble making friends when I came here. I understood like, the vibe of the people and all that, what I'm saying, the culture. But
Yeah.
I can definitely see how making friends when going to like America for the first time might be really hard, especially in colleges. Just because I know a lot of my own friends from like APU in the past, when they came here, they didn't really like know the people, know how the people interact with each other, right? So they have a hard time like making friends and just getting to talk to people.
Have you chosen a major yet?
I have right now I'm doing an international communications major, which
Ah.
is basically it's a master degree Like right now, I'm still in my undergrad, but I'm trying to follow like master degree already. But that major is basically like doing international relations. So in the future, I hope to work for. I'm not sure if you know about the United Nations. It's basically an international organization that helps like provide security and diplomacy for like uh, basically every country in the world.
How different is studying there than in Vietnam?
Um, since I studied high school in APU, which
Mhm.
has like already like an American type of education, like for someone studying in APU and then going to college in America, it might not seem that different. But for someone who just studies in the normal Vietnamese public school going to
Yeah.
America, honestly, some classes might seem easier, some classes might seem harder. I'm sure you know like how hard the normal math classes in Vietnam is. Yeah. But like if you come here, you see like what they study for math, you're like, bro,
Yeah.
this is very easy.
Yeah.
But what I would say is the main difference between studying in Vietnam and in the US is basically like the interaction between students and teachers, because
Yeah.
you know how sometimes students and teachers in Vietnam, they can be kind of like strict with each other.
I see.
Like I can't remember, back in elementary in Vietnam, my teacher would always have like a ruler with her, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Over here though, the professors tend to be more like friendly. They're teaching you, but they're also like studying along with you.
How you spending your free time lately?
Let's see. I've been kind of busy with tests and stuff,
I
so
see.
not gonna
Yeah.
lie, I don't really have a lot of free time. On my free days, I have two jobs right now. So one of my jobs is within the campus. So I work as like basically like a consultant or a tutor, you could say, for like English and writing stuff. And
Oh.
my other job, I work at like a restaurant. Basically, it's just like a small side job that I do just because free money, I guess.
Um,
But other than my jobs, I try to exercise often. I still talk to my friends, both like my friends here and my friends like in my international friends from like in the different states from APU and all that. I honestly don't don't go exploring the city a lot, even though I think I should. But that's something I'll try to do in the future as well.
are you enjoy any new activities or entertainment that you didn't able to enjoy in Vietnam?
I mean, I feel like my time in Vietnam was great as well, but I've always been more used to like the culture within New York just because I grew up here as a kid. And in terms of new activities and entertainment, like I feel like New York has a lot of stuff.
Are you getting any homesick?
Honestly, not
Yeah.
really. But the reason why is because so I already lived in another country for a really long time, right? And then when I go back to Vietnam, I study in Da Nang, but my house is in Hanoi. So even in Vietnam, I was living far away from my family. And now when I'm back here, it's like it doesn't really have a different feeling. As a
Yeah.
kid, I'm already
Yeah.
like pretty used to this. I know like it's really easy to get homesick when you're moving to another country all alone. So
Yes.
I can definitely sympathize with the feeling.
What kind of advice would you give to somebody who is thinking of studying abroad?
Oh, this is a good question. One thing I would
Yeah.
say to someone who wants to study abroad is, well, prepare, right? You got to know where you're going, first of all. How is
Yeah.
it living there? What is
Yeah.
the school all about? And you got to know what you got to do in order to achieve going to that school, where you're going to
Mhm.
live, all kind of stuff. Of course, like when I say it all out like that, it might sound stressful.
Yeah.
And sometimes it is quite stressful, but if you just do everything one by one, you'll be perfectly fine. One of the regrets I had during high school was that I wasn't able to take the SAT. The only thing I would really recommend to anyone wanting to study abroad is,
Yeah.
prepare. Make sure this is actually what you want and know how you can get to where you want.
Have you found it difficult adjusting to a new climate?
Compared to Vietnam, which is
Yeah.
usually like really hot, living in New York in particular, we have better weather somewhat. The one thing is like in America, in most states it tends to be like pretty cold, right? The thing is like I like winter, I like cold places, so I don't really mind that. For someone who's been living in Vietnam for like a really long time, right? Their whole life, let's say,
Yeah.
adjusting to that cold might be a bit hard just because
Yeah.
like it's something new, you know? Like we don't have snow in Vietnam.
Yeah.
And here, like during the winter, snow is like you get snow everywhere. Whenever it rains after snow, it gets really like dirty, and people always like slip and fall everywhere. You know, people always do a bunch of stuff with snow.
Thanks so much to our guest today, Nguyễn Nhật Nam, and thanks for listening to the APU AUV podcast. I'm Đình Nguyên. We hope you enjoy this series on life studying abroad. Please like, comment, and share this episode, and listen for more episodes on the APU AUV podcast.